Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about transit Chiron conjunct one's natal Mercury. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve Chiron, they could be about physical and emotional wounds, suffering, ineptitude, and healing and helping others. It can reflect ways that we can heal and help others that we have difficulty in doing for ourselves, and we may help others in ways that we're unable to help ourselves, basically. But what it is, the fact that you're talking about transit Chiron conjoining one's natal Mercury, well, this can manifest in physical and emotional wounds. It could be in also healing and helping. It could be matters with communications. Now, it'd be hard to suffer physical wounds with communication unless you're in a contentious situation with somebody and you want to get into a physical confrontation. Say if it's an Aries and there's a contentious situation between you and somebody, it could result in physical wounds, but it would be more emotional wounds with a transit like this as far as communication goes. But it can be maybe feeling inept in communications, and also Mercury is connected with learning, of course, and assimilating information. So there might be something where you may be feeling maybe some more insecurity at this time in terms of doing so. If it's in Virgo, say, it might be where you might feel that you're not as punctilious with details, or not getting all the details down, and as far as getting assimilating information, where you might be lacking in getting the details. Whether it's actually true or not, it might be another story. But the thing about it is, this is also Mercury's connected with rational thinking. And the thing about this is, this can be some suffering in this. Remember that Chiron is about wounds, and what it does is it can create a figurative wound in your rational mind, your rational thinking at this time. I had a prominent family member that had a similar transit. She had a transit, I believe it was transit Neptune conjunct her natal Mercury. It was at least in a long conjunction to it at the time, in Mercury's detriment in Sagittarius. And I felt like, at least in my opinion, my perception, it was the beginning of a nervous breakdown. She had lost her husband at that same time, so it was just the timing of the event was just terrible. But anyway, the thing about this too is that when you look at this transit, okay, Mercury can be associated with siblings, cousins, and neighbors. So this could be something where there might be a situation with these people that might be causing some emotional suffering. If a situation is combative or contentious with any of these people at this time, or these people might be, you might know one of these people might be suffering from some physical debilitation. You might be trying to help them at this time more so than usual. And it could also be just, and it may not necessarily be a physical situation, it could be an emotional one, or it could be one where you're just willing to just assist them somehow. If the person, say, is, say if it's, Aquarius, for example, in the sixth house, it might be some kind of way you might be helping them and assisting them with troubleshooting a computer, or providing like that service to them, or some internet service if they don't have the computer, as an example. The thing about it is too, this transit is also connected with local transportation and short journeys. Mercury is associated with local transportation and short journeys. So another way this could be expressed, it could be some situation, with your vehicle that might break down. If it's in Pisces, it might be some, nebulous or unclear issue with it. It might be one that might involve like a chemical leak. It could be something too where you might be helping maybe other people in terms of local transportation issues, maybe in some way in which you're unable to help yourself. It could be the classic case of the person, giving directions or instructing somebody on alternate transportation methods, but you might not apply them yourself for whatever reason. It can be, anatomically speaking, Mercury is associated with the arms, the hands, the lungs, breathing, and the brain, and also nerves. So in some isolated cases, this could be physical suffering in connection with this. Say if this falls in Sagittarius as an example, there might be some issues with the arms or the hands, or some nerve-related issue with the hands. It could be something from something sports related, or something that might have happened when you were outdoors, as an example of if it being in Sagittarius. Now, also too, Mercury is connected with analysis as well. So it might be something where you might be having a little bit more difficulty than usual, maybe trying to analyze things, or it might be some situation too where maybe there might be some emotional suffering based on a situation that you might have analyzed, and maybe it was something where, for example, you could have, say it just fell in like your fourth house. It could be some home or family member that maybe you came to the conclusion that this person was using you, or they may have been taking, say if it's in Scorpio in the fourth house as an example, they might have been using credit card, you stolen your credit card number and been using it fraudulently, or there's some kind of manipulation that might have been going on from a home or family member, and you analyze this, and it might cause some kind of emotional wounds or suffering. Now, Mercury also is associated with thieves, so it's really important time to be extra prudent and careful and guarded against, situation where you may be, you might be a greater propensity to be robbed at this time. And I mean, if it's again going back to the zodiac sign Scorpio as an example, it might be done in a very surreptitious manner, or done very late at night in a way where you just really completely unexpectedly, something could happen. So, and also you're talking about, it could be physical wounds as a result of this. If somebody was, say, trying to rob you, point blank, and you get into a tussle with the person as an example. Now, also too, Chiron can be associated with the deepest wound that we may feel or endure. Now, at the time of the transit, you may be experiencing what feels like that deepest wound. It could be through some cerebral ability. You might feel you're lacking in intellectual ability or in communication as well, and it might be just trying, even trying to solve, use your mind to solve problems. And say if it's in Scorpio, it could be like in a situation where you're trying. Scorpio can be associated with locksmithing. I would say locksmith is trying to find the key to open things, and it could be something where you were trying, you got locked out of your vehicle and you were trying to figure out a way, to get in there, and you were using a coat hanger or whatever, and whatever you did wasn't working, and it might affect, how you feel about yourself as an example. Now, another example, say if this falls in Aries, it could be maybe a lack of maybe assertiveness in one's speech at this time, which might be which might feel like the deepest wound, because as a result of not speaking up, it might lead to greater repercussions somehow. Now, another thing too, say if it's in Taurus, it might be trying to being too methodical and trying to analyze something, or sometimes even stuttering in some cases. It can be also too, looking at this, Chiron can be associated with healing and helping others, and it could be doing so in matters with theft. In situations, it could be through communication at this time as well, maybe through local transportation, offering rides to people as another example. Now, let's say this falls in Leo in the fourth house as an example. If there's a matter with theft, it could be by maybe helping replenish entertainment or extravagant items that may have been taken from one's home. And also too, and going back to the physical wounds and suffering, in some cases this could manifest in some kind of physical injury and suffering. It could be something Mercury related. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, say if this is in Taurus as an example, it could be perhaps a persistent breathing issue. It could be, say if it's in Pisces, maybe it's something connected with mucus that's really figuring more prominently in a breathing problem or dilemma. Now, Aquarius, it might be more erratic and sporadic breathing problems or something really could be strongly nerve related, since Mercury can be connected with the nerves anyway. If you have it in Aquarius or even Gemini, that could increase that propensity for an issue with the nerves, I would say. Could also be expressing depleted or diminished self-worth. Um, it could be due to a situation with a sibling or a cousin or even a neighbor, or even maybe a local transportation issue. Now, say if this falls in Taurus in the second house as an example, it could be a transportation issue, and maybe it's due to a monetary problem, and also this is about Chiron could be associated with how where one might feel inept or they feel some kind of ineptitude in their life. Um, it could be irrational thinking, or an intellectual or cerebral ability. Say if it's in Cancer, the zodiac sign Cancer, it might be due to maybe ability to think rationally might be affected. It might be because the mind may be dominated by the emotions, and this is more of a time where you might be apt to communicate more about your physical and emotional wounds and suffering in areas in life where you feel inept. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.